in London, ambassador to Spain. I did a stint borrowed to serve the palace, controller of the royal household for 3 years when Sultan Adlan Shah was Agung. Then ambassador to Mexico, and I took early retirement. Enough was enough. Difficult serving a government you can't support, serving a government you can't defend. But anyway, well, tonight is your night. Thank you very much for the support. The cause is our cause, yours and mine together. Tuan-tuan dan puan sekalian, we can only lament at the course, the road our country has taken ever since Merdeka. Lament in sadness, lament in anguish, in horror, indeed in anger. So much promise, look at what has happened. Yes, a country with only 30 million people today. At Merdeka it was only 10 million. I always say it wouldn't have been very difficult to administer 30 million people with so much resources in our hands. Tin, rubber, timber, oil, gas, palm oil. If you had managed your income well, your income from these resources well, and look after the welfare of the people and so on, it would have been very easy to support a good life for the people. It's not everybody can be kaya. All you need is just hidup selesa. More than enough to do it. There is no need for Melayu, Cina, India, Kazakh, Dayak to gaduh-gaduh. No need. UMNO and Barisan Nasional just didn't do it. Wherever I go for this ceramah, I keep saying to people and so on, kita bukan bangkang because we simply must bangkang. We like to bangkang. Kerja pembangkang is to bangkang, therefore bangkang juga. No, if you had done your job properly, we would have supported you. You didn't do the job. And I always compare this to Singapore. Oh yes, you kicked out Singapore in 1965. Susah. Making life difficult for us and so on. And there was UMNO screaming and shouting, ketuhanan Melayu, kesejahteraan Melayu. Mau dukung Melayu, mau tolong Melayu. What did you do? You couldn't do it for the Malays, you couldn't do it for the rest of the riot, you simply couldn't do it. And look at Singapore, in 20 years after you kicked them out, 20 years, they've come to become today, join the ranks of the first world. Yes? Join the ranks of the first world in 20 years. What have they got? Tin, rubber, tin, oil, gas, palm oil, tala. Only use these. And the other thing they did was, they made it as a trust. The trust kerajaan Singapura is hapuskan rasuah, anti-corruption, anti-corruption. When I was there, a Minister of Housing had to hang himself before he was taken to court. And there was a case, just to give you an example of how seriously they look at the problem of corruption. A Solicitor General was suspected of taking money. The government carried out a sting operation. Get a group of people to pretend they are businessmen or something, and go approach the fellow and check whether indeed he was taking money. Now they go to such an extent to find it out. And indeed he took money. There you are. It was a warning to everybody not to do it. This is how they do it. But in our case, 250 million lembu kondo, nothing happens. 2.6 billion ringgit masuk into the Prime Minister's private account, nothing happens. Apa country ini? Malu. And look at China. Look, 1 we say it should have been very easy to administer 30 million people, you're not administering 1.5 billion manusia in China or 1.7 billion manusia in India. Mau kasih makan, mau bikin rumah, hospital, jalan raya, laksana undang-undang, pening kepala. 30 million is nothing, right? But look, the Chinese could do it. 1.5 billion manusia and getting it in 30 years. Ever since Deng Xiaoping started his socialism with Chinese characteristics. 30 years. Today, it is the finest example of a country which has developed itself from a third world country to a first world country in 30 years. The shortest possible time. That's China. They can do it. And today, it has some of the finest infrastructure, first class. You couldn't do it in 60 years. Why? Simple. Corruption. From the beginning. Yes? Lord Acton's famous maxim, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. That was what happened. Here, tuan-tuan dan puan sekalian, I will relate this story wherever I go. Some of you may have heard it. But nevertheless, it's useful to hear, to see what has happened to UMNO. My late father once held the post of Acting Setiausaha Agung UMNO Malaya. Acting Setiausaha Agung Malaya, zaman Tunku Abdul Rahman. Together with Tunku Abdul Rahman, the first Prime Minister. He quarreled with the Tunku. Yes, he did. There was a case of corruption that time. One Menteri Besar was taking money from timber concessions and so on. And he quarreled with the Tunku. He told the Tunku even then, you cannot close your eyes towards corruption, Tunku. You have got to take action from now, right from now. Otherwise, this thing will go on out of control. Everybody will want to join UMNO just to hold position in order to enrich themselves. Tunku tidak apa. He resigned. 1959, he resigned 2 years after Merdeka. Yes. It's to show you, it started from even then. And as I said, at that time somebody took 30,000 or 50,000, it was considered terrible. But today, yes, it's out of control. 250 million, 2.6 billion is nothing. His friends told him, Cero, you bodoh lah. If you had remained UMNO section, you should have kaya ini hari. He was very angry. This is the kind of attitude you must not have. Tun Abdul Razak sent a delegation to persuade him not to resign. He said, no, I cannot. Because if you don't look into this matter, UMNO will forget the perjuangan that you took, the promises you made to the people who supported you for Merdeka and so on. And it's so true. This is what happened. Tuan-tuan dan puan sekalian, we have joined the ranks of those African countries who became independent, African, Latin American and Asian countries which became independent in the 1950s. All of them followed the same route, and we took the same route as they did. Corruption, tyranny, kleptocracy, and the country, you can name them. Very easy to name them. Charles Taylor in Liberia, Babangida in Nigeria, Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, Daniel Arap Moi in Kenya, Museveni in Uganda, what's his name in Zimbabwe? Yes, Robert Mugabe, and finally there's South Africa, Jacob Zuma. All of them looted their country and kept accounts in Paris, in London, in New York, in Geneva. It's the same. We used to shake our heads in disbelief, looking at what has happened to these African countries. And the other side, Lopez Portillo in Mexico, Evita Peron and Juan Domingo Peron, Argentina, near a hole, Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos, Suharto, Taksin, Sarawak. But the people got rid of them. And we are still straddled with this kleptocrats. 60 years, and 13 PRU. How much longer I will be to endure this tyranny from UMNO and Barisan Nasional? Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, we have the chance at PRU 14 and we must take it. Yes? As I said, we used to laugh at those African countries or shake our heads in disbelief and feel sorry for them. Ruin. And once you go down economically, it's difficult for you to come up. As it turned out, we have now produced a champion. The champion of all kleptocrats is here. Yes. The Oscar for the top kleptocrat goes to jointly MO1, Rosmark and Najib from Malaysia. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. We couldn't have done it without the support of the people of Malaysia. We have to thank them for doing it. We have to thank 1MDB. We have to thank GST. We have those. We couldn't have done it. Next year we will increase the GST by another 3, 4, 5% to make sure that next year we'll win the Oscar again. Sam, this is the laughing matter in the end. You just heard Fabi giving all those descriptions. Befits worse than a third-class country. And this is all UMNO does. All they do is ensure they have to win power at all costs. Do what it takes. Undi hantu, undi post, person padanat, OSA, ISA, by any means, fair and foul, and mostly foul and wicked, to ensure they hold on to power so that they will not be investigated and held accountable. And with the same power, carry on another round, looting the country for their own ends, to enrich themselves. UMNO and Barisan Nasional, that's all they do. And every time, they go to the people and bribe them. Bagi duit, bagi kampit beras, bagi kain plekat. Otherwise they threaten them. Tak kasih undi, UMNO nanti Cina ambil kuasa, habis Melayu. They've been using this tune 13 times. And I always tell people, look, Singapore ran Singapore for all Singaporeans. Today, can't you see, the Malays in Singapore are better place than the Malays in Peninsular Malaysia. Do you hear that the Malays in Singapore are suppressed, that they want to mass migrate over and come over here? No. In fact, the opposite is the truth. Every morning, hundreds of thousands of young Malay youths are lining up at the causeway to go and cross over to work in Singapore. There you are. We are not going to be fooled again by such arguments. Well, I will just repeat what Fahmi has said. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, we have this chance, PRU 14, to make that change. And by all accounts, we are in the lead. We are in the lead. So I'm told, we can only lose. We can only lose by massive cheating, over which we have to be very careful. And so, I repeat what Fahmi said. Number one, come out in full force to vote, to overcome and to drown out the undi hantus. Come out in full force and give your help to Rafizi. He has been calling out for help for volunteers, more volunteers. Give him the help that he needs to help us. I repeat, help him, for him to help us. He needs the volunteers to train pachas, to make sure that we can check this cheating that we can expect. Then we have a chance. And the other thing is, I have noticed myself from this campaign, PRU 14, that for once I see there is a gerakan rakyat, a coming together of rakyat, gerombolan rakyat, the people's movement, cutting across race and religion. Yes, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, let's keep it that way. For once, it is very, very precious. Whatever happens, we move from here onwards united as one people. A lot of it, I must say, a lot of it, we owe our thanks to the role Invoke has played, reaching out at every ceramah of 300 people is being monitored into Facebook, watched by average 50,000, 70,000, sometimes even 120,000 people. That's how he has been able to reach out to the people as never before. And much of it we owe to Invoke and to its founder, YB Rafizi Ramli. Let's give him a big hand. From him I heard we are going to keep the system for the future, to use the same system to reach out to as many people as possible, to change the mentality of the minds, especially those in the rural areas who find themselves very difficult to detach from unknown and so on, to tell the truth. And once again, we will move forward together as one people. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, last I say this, the truth is, we are in fact seeking kemerdekaan the second time. Yes. The first time, it was from the British. It got. Now we're seeking merdeka from the kezaliman, kleptocracy, the tyranny of UMNO and Barisan Nasional for 60 over years. And for 13 PRUs, enough is enough. Let's do it together. When I shout merdeka, let me hear you echo so that I know you understand our mission and our message to get freedom from tyranny, kleptocracy, and political gangsterism that is UMNO and Barisan Nasional. Merdeka!